Hello there, how are you all? I'm back, and this time I am gonna get a bit more into the bigger issues, the brain, the mindset. Carrying on about, is your mindset ready to follow your heart? Is that mindset ready to love again? Is the mindset ready to actually dump all that toxicity and get you to be in a place where you want? So today I'm just gonna get in and talk about the stories we tell ourselves. So this comes from one part of the ways we operate and the ways we try to to deal with things in life coaching. And this is where we've got that part called the narrative therapy. So in narrative therapy, we manage to talk about all the stories. We get to dig deeper into the stories that you actually tell yourself. So this is one method I use in my coaching sessions, whereby if at times you feel like, you know, things have always been like this, you've always known that that's what you are like, and you know, you tell yourselves, you tell that story to different people in different forms, and that story becomes who you are. So let's look at what are some of the examples of the things somebody who maybe has had a relationship breakup, or some of the things we actually even tell stories about in our day-to-day lives. For example, somebody can just go, I went for a date and the person just walked away from me. They didn't even say anything to me. And I'm sure that's the way it's just going to be, because that's what always happens to me. And I know that I am the unlucky one. Okay, what does that statement mean to you? All those things are the stories you've always might have told yourself. At times, the stories are good for you. At a certain point, at times we follow the stories because they do serve a purpose for that. So that's why you find that some people stick around in toxic, terrible relationships, because that's what it's always been like. And that's what I always get. Those are the type of people I always attract, because that's how I just am. Or some people would rather be looking and acting all ill because it's better for them to be sick, and I am always the sick one. I can never get better because that's the way it is, and that's what it's always been. But all those stories you are telling yourselves, you might have to get to a point whereby you actually go, what are these stories I tell myself and I tell to people, and why do I feel comfortable with identifying myself as that person? Somebody will go like, oh, I'll never get married, or I'll never find that person. Where did you get those stories from? Where did that happen? Oh, I've always been like that, because that's what has always happened. What else would have happened with you in the past? You might have to dig deeper to go like, oh, the story I always say, the label I put on myself, is it real? Is it true? Or it is just a label that actually you are actually using, either to remove yourself from the truth, or just maybe convince yourself that things can never change. You might have to ask yourself, how are the stories affecting you today? And how have they also affected you in the past? Because at times, just keeping those stories, telling yourself that, oh, this is what it is like, and all those things, you might find that somewhere along the way, you actually start behaving in a way that suits your story, because you want your story to be real. Subconsciously, you want your story to be real. So you start even sabotaging relationships if you start being in a relationship, or if, let's say, even in a job situation, you just go like, oh, I'm always late. And then even when you're supposed to be early, you actually, because you've put a label on yourself, because you've told yourself the story, you will try by all means to be late. So same in a relationship. You actually go like, oh, that's the way I am. But can it be changed? Or that's the people you attract. Could that be true? They might not be the real people you attract, or is it because you just want it to be real? So ask yourself those questions. Are the stories true? And what can you do to demystify them? Ask yourself the questions. When did you start telling yourself that story? What had happened? How is it serving you? are some of the questions you should ask. Is it saving you? Is it making you any better? Is it a real story? Or is it just something that you just thought, okay, this can actually give me comfort for years and I can just hang around with that? But look at what it can do to you, or what it can do for you. Is it helping you? So at times it can be anything like, um, there are no real men out there who can actually like me, or good women are gone, and I've always been unlucky. Is that so? Look at all the other achievements you've had. There's so many other beautiful things that have happened to you. Think about those things. What it is that you actually have achieved in your life without you thinking that you're the unlucky one, without you thinking that it always happens to me. So all those bits and pieces, think about those things, guys. What is your mindset doing? What are the stories you continuously profess with your own mouth? You keep talking and talking and talking about them to a point whereby your own brain believes that it's actually true. And your behavior starts adapting to that, because by the end of the day, it is the stories at times that we tell ourselves, and we keep them because they're comfortable, but they could actually be damaging you in other ways. So I'll give you, my website, on my page. I'm going to put some practices and some little exercises for you to see what it is that could actually be, pulling you back. You might actually see what are some of the tendencies that you've eventually started adapting to, simply because you want them to fit your story. You might actually start behaving in a certain way that you want the story to be real. You want this unrealistic story to look like it's the truth. So I'm going to put out some activities for you to actually, a quiz for you to see what's in there. So you can find me on Facebook on the Single Parent Relationship Coach, and also here on YouTube. I'll be posting um, more videos, and also on my website, the www.singleparenting single parent guy single parent sorry, I can't even say my own name, www.singleparentdatingcoach.com, where we're going to be having all those tools to help you. And also there'll be offers on Facebook as I'm going through, on if you want to get into any one of the programs to start you off into getting more into the deeper mindset, into the narrative, the neuro-linguistic part of it, into all those things like what else could be happening. Are you just getting ideas from somewhere? Or is it all the trauma you've gone through? Or is it just a childhood person whose confidence was lost along the way, you could actually be hoping to achieve back? So catch you, I hope to be able to get you soon, somewhere on one of the platforms, on Instagram, on Facebook, and my blogs, on my website, so we can talk deeper and deeper into all those things, the narrative, the solutions, the NLP's part, for you to get back your mind and actually be on the road to get this person again. I hope to catch you soon.